What is going on, world? What's up, YouTube? It's Zero here. Today I'm bringing you guys a brand new episode of Horror Theory. Welcome everyone to Horror Theory, the best horror related show here on YouTube. And I'm super excited about our episode here today. We have a lot of stuff to talk about, so let's get into it. Before I start the show, guys, I wanted to make an exciting announcement that none other, guys, than the Horror Theory memberships are now open. And this is absolutely awesome, guys. I'm super excited about it. This is going to give you all more ways to connect with me, as well as the horror gaming community, the horror universe as a whole, guys. Our memberships are now live, and I'm really excited about it. So, guys, if you check out our membership to join the channel, you're going to see what you get for becoming a member of the Horror Theory community. That being, guys, loyalty badges as you go along as you're a member of the community. You're also going to be getting a custom emoji as well that you're going to be able to use in the live comments, whether we're doing a premiere, a live stream, things of that nature. It's also going to give you access to the Horror Theory Discord, which is absolutely awesome. Our private Discord group where all we talk about, guys, is everything in the horror gaming and horror universes. And I'm super excited about that as well. You're also going to be getting members only live streams where we're going to be talking with all of you, answering your questions, whether we're talking, Q&A live streams, things of that nature, where there's going to give you more ways to connect with me, where we can talk about horror gaming, everything that's going to be coming out in the horror gaming universe, as well as just horror in general, whether we're talking movies and things of that nature. And so this is going to give you all more ways to connect with me, and where you all can also meet other people in the horror universe. And that's what is so exciting about this, guys. I cannot wait to see all of you in there. Thank you to all of you who are joining as we speak. I appreciate each and every one of you. If you're a huge horror fan, definitely join our channel, guys. Memberships are now open. Let's get into the show. In this episode of Horror Theory, we're going to be talking about Silt. Silt, guys, is a title that is up and coming. It is a 2D puzzle adventure horror title that gives you those vibes of Limbo and Inside. Limbo was one of those titles absolutely loved. When this game released, a 2D puzzle adventure, and it gives you those same exact vibes, a very almost unnerving, terrifying kind of experience playing Limbo. And Silt, you can tell, is certainly a spiritual successor to Limbo, and it gets me really excited because you are a diver that can actually possess sea creatures and things of that nature to figure out puzzles, and at the same time gives you that same unnerving, terrifying experience, it looks like, similar to what you got in Limbo. So with that being said, guys, let's dive into Silt and everything that we know so far. Let's get into it. In an article coming to us from Neil Bolt of Bloody Disgusting, I can't remember the last game that enchanted me with its visual beauty whilst unnerving me with what it represented. Well, congratulations to developer Spiral Circus, because it has already achieved just that in a short demo for its upcoming aquatic horror game, Silt. So Spiral Circus, guys, that's who's creating this title. It is not going to be, of course, the developers of Limbo. This is a completely different team that's working on this. That's why we're talking of it being a spiritual successor. These guys obviously have a lot of respect for Limbo and what was created and built over there. And so they're kind of doing their own spin on it, which is really interesting. Silt translates this to a two-dimensional format quite well. It immediately put me deep in that briny abyss as a diver, chained to the floor of an underwater cave. It's a classic cold open setup, held captive with no idea as to how or why you got here and unsure how to get out of it. It pulls back the corner of its underlying mystery ever so slightly by making its first reveal. So I could possess a nearby fish. It's a toothy looking fella, sort of like a piranha, and enforces that by being able to chomp through the chain on my foot and set me free. Signposted by the game or not, my first instinct is to swim upwards in hope of finding a way out. So Yeah, guys, this is a really interesting concept twist on the idea of limbo, whereas your diver can actually possess these sea creatures, and that's you kind of really essentially used to your advantage to get through different puzzles and figure different things out. And that's something that's really interesting about this title. I can't wait to uncover and understand the lore behind Silt, what they're trying to do here. A lot of it, with Limbo, a lot of it was kind of made up to your, kind of how you thought of the title after the game concluded. One person may have looked at it one way, another person may have kind of translated into something else. And I think the same thing as kind of the vibe I'm getting here with Silt as well. There's going to be a number of different ways to try to kind of pursue victory in this title, but at the same time, I think everybody's going to almost translate what happens and what transpires differently, and that's what I love about a game like this. Now, we could be wrong, guys. We're kind of looking into this a little bit, but that's what I get really excited about with titles like this. There's a lot of mystery to it, a lot of lore that you can kind of tell is behind it, and I can't wait to dive more into it, no pun intended. It then became clear that there was a reason for the scenery looking a little too organic. The exit of this cave system was in fact the large maw of some monstrous sea creature. Freedom of sorts had been achieved, but it really drives home how gargantuan the ocean depths are. As I chased down the glowing lure, it agitated striped eel-like creatures hiding in the rocky walls of the tunnel. As I passed them, they began to pursue. Before I knew it, I was rushing towards one fate whilst escaping another, as several of these eels could just about be seen snapping at the diver's flippers in the inky darkness behind. It's the standout moment of the whole demo, and I'm eager to see if Spyro Circus can continue to tap into that special kind of dread throughout the entire game. Through the other side of that nightmare tunnel, I came into a wider chamber where the glowing beacon of doom drew closer to its source and ultimately revealed itself as the threat I'd assumed it to be. What followed was a strategic use of evasion to destroy the barriers preventing my escape from this new hungry Leviathan. The demo ends shortly after the conclusion of that encounter. So, what we've seen so far, guys, of Silt at this point in time, a demo version comes out. We had, another reveal that came at the Future Games Showcase in the spring of this year. There's a lot of excitement building around this title. It's going to be coming out spring of 2022, and that's really exciting as well. We should be getting our hands on this game relatively sooner rather than later, unless there's some delays or something of that nature. But it looks pretty fine-tuned. It looks really great. Like I said, really reminds you of Limbo. But at the same time, it stands on its own, right? It's a little bit of a different kind of take on that, being an underwater diver, dealing with like sea creatures and things of that nature. It's going to be really interesting to see what Spiral Circus does here with this title moving forward. If this is kind of a title that's going to stand on its own, or if it's one that they're potentially going to create a long-withstanding franchise out of, which I think a lot of us would love to see. Something with Limbo and Inside, I think a lot of people wanted there to be continuations, after those first two titles, and we haven't got them up to this point. So this could really be the spiritual successor to Limbo, but also push this genre forward in a major, major way. Silt certainly has a lot of promises at this stage. The art style evokes the mood of Playdead's Limbo and Inside, but manages to put its own, more visually detailed spin on that. It's pulling off Undersea Dread on a 2D plane, which is no mean feat, and it's already offering up an enticing amount of ambiguity that leads to driving questions about where the journey will take our diver. So, overall, guys, we know, certain things about the title, right? We know certain elements of it: 2D puzzle title, adventure, horror. Looks like it's going to be pretty expansive as well. I mean, you're going to be in the abyss of the underwater sea, and that's something that's going to be really interesting moving forward. But there's still so much mystery to this title. Even though there was a demo, even though we're seeing more and more information, there's still a lot of question marks around this title. Let me know though, guys, what do you think about Silt at this point in time? Are you excited about it? Are you still kind of wondering about a bunch of the elements of this title? Where do you think they're going with it, that being Spiral Circus? Let me know in the comment section down below. And for more Silt content and videos, stay here with Zero TV. We talked in the last segment of the show about how Silt is a spiritual successor to Limbo, and you can just see it from the art style of the title to even like the way the movement is and things of that nature. Definitely a spiritual successor to Play Dead's, Limbo and Inside. And with that being said, guys, I want to dive more and even further into that. And so I really want us to kind of start breaking down Silt as a game, as what we've seen so far, and what we can expect moving forward in this Limbo-esque style title that is sure to be something terrifying and exciting all at the same time. Let's get into it. So guys, in an article coming to us from Sam Loveridge of Games Radar, Silt, a monochrome and rather surreal underwater puzzler from developer Spiral Circus, got a rather stylish and nerve-wracking new trailer as part of Future Game Show, which was spring of 2022. You play as a diver, exploring alone to discover what long-buried mysteries, ruins, and other surprises can be found in the depths. But there's a twist. You can possess the sea creatures that you find down there, making use of their abilities to solve puzzles and progress further through the grayscale aquatic landscapes. And the same goes for the ones that protect it, because Silt isn't just about exploring, as you'll also have to work to survive. Gigantic sea creatures don't appreciate your presence and will make that known with the flash of their jaws overfilled with teeth. Of course, there's also the fact that down in the depths, what little light there mainly comes from the beam of your scuba helmet, complemented by the glimmer of aquatic bioluminescence, or the warning glow of something horrible. So let's put it this way, guys. This is a title that's going to be, in a major way, very atmospheric. I think, the puzzles are going to be, there's going to be puzzles along the entire journey, guys. There's no doubt about it. I wouldn't even take, put it past Spiral Circus to say that there's a good possibility that they're going to try to really elevate the amount of puzzles that were in Limbo or maybe even in Inside. And they're also going to make potentially the difficulty level a little bit even more than that of Limbo and Inside, just to kind of, you can tell there's a sequence in the trailer where the diver is swimming away from these eels and is chasing after this light, and you could just tell that there's definitely some unnerving elements in that sequence where your diver's going a certain speed, the eels are going a certain speed. They're almost like at the heels of the diver in it, and you can just tell that tension, you got that tension in Limbo without question. You got it in Inside. This one, though, you're almost wondering, since it's a different style, we're underwater instead of, in Limbo. It's interesting that this is going to be something where those unnerving elements could really show through into the gameplay, where, you're just escaping, just barely. Any little mistake, you're done kind of thing in Silt. I think that it could be a very punishing title, but at the same time, it could also be a very exciting one when you get past certain elements of it. I think the difficulty, guys, is going to be there in a pretty major way. But from an atmospheric perspective, I think this title looks amazing, guys. I think from a graphical perspective to just kind of how they were able to light up the depths of this abyss that you're in, and the creatures look great, and just the puzzles, the way that you are able to possess different sea creatures to your advantage. I think there's a lot of excitement around those elements of it. But to say the least, guys, this looks like a terrifying experience, while at the same time being one that could really try to be up there with Limbo in these 2D puzzle titles in the horror genre. It wants to be the 2D puzzle horror action title of our time, and you can just tell based on what Spiral Circus has put together at this point. We won't know for sure until we get our hands on the game, but that's going to be really exciting. So, dropping an undisclosed date in spring of 2022, Silt will be available on PC via Steam, and you can wishlist it right now. So with that being said, guys, this title, obviously from Limbo to Inside to how this is kind of taking elements from those, what would it be? It's something that's really interesting to me. Is like, could Spiral Circus have, a partnership somehow or another with Playdead where this is actually in the Limbo universe? It'd be really interesting to see if this is a title that's actually within that same universe. Obviously, I think that's kind of a long shot just because Playdead, they have the rights to Limbo and such, and I mean they would have to give up those rights essentially, or allow to share those rights with Spiral Circus. I think this is more of a spiritual successor than anything, but wouldn't it be interesting if this all connected somehow or another to Limbo as well as Inside, some way, shape, or form? It'd be interesting, guys, and I can't wait to give you guys more content and more information as we get closer to the release of Silt. I would say, guys, that we're probably going to be able to get our hands on the game hopefully within the next couple of months. But let me know, what do you guys think about Silt in the comment section down below? Is this somehow or another in the Limbo universe, or is it just going to be a spiritual successor that stands on its own? Let me know in the comment section down below. And for more Silt content and videos, stay here with Zero TV. Now that we know little about Silt and what this is all going to encompass, I want to talk, guys, about the things that we want out of Silt moving forward when the game launches, to the life expectancy of this title. I want to talk about everything that we want. And when I say we, guys, I'm going to give you my thoughts and opinions here. Some of you may agree, some of you may disagree. I would love to hear your thoughts, though, about what you want to see out of Silt in the comment section down below. So let's get into it. So with that being said, guys, I'm going to give you 5 things that I really want to see out of this title. And this is one, guys, that I'm very excited about. It should be coming hopefully in the next couple of months. So we'll be able to really dive into this thing, be able to just get our hands on it and really start trying to break down the story and what Spiral Circus is trying to build here. So with that being said, coming in for me, guys, at number 1, we keep talking about how this title, Silt, is without question a spiritual successor to Limbo. It's a spiritual successor somewhat to Inside. Obviously, guys, we're very excited about that. I loved Limbo. I thought it was incredible. I thought it was transcendent in a number of ways for the 2D puzzle as well as like horror genre as a whole. Absolutely loved the title. But that being said, I really want Silt to stand on its own. I want it to be its own thing, not where it feels too much like Limbo or too much of like a copy and paste of Limbo. From what we've seen, though, so far of Silt, it definitely seems like it stands on its own. I mean, number 1, we're underwater in this underwater abyss, essentially, where you possess sea monsters in order to help you pursue victory at the end of the day and pursue like getting through different puzzles and things of that nature. So there's definitely some different concepts there. So that being said, though, I really want this title to stand on its own in all 3 phases, beginning, middle, end to the title, even though it's always fine to have a kudos to the past, that being like a title like Limbo, being, very self-aware that this is a spiritual successor to a title like that, but always making sure that this is a title that stands on its own, isn't have elements that are copy and paste from other titles. I think that's really important. Obviously, guys, being a spiritual successor, it being black and white, obviously the tone of it, the way that the movement and things of that nature, it just feels a lot like Limbo, which is great because I've been wanting to have a continuation of Limbo and Inside, for a while now, and this could be something really special for the future. That being said, let's get into number 2. One of my criticisms of Limbo as well as Inside were, even though they were incredible experiences and I loved them for what they were, my favorite 2D puzzle titles ever. Absolutely loved Limbo for sure, guys. But what I will say, though, is that they felt a little bit short. They didn't feel like a very long experience. And I think for me, I really want to see Silt actually have a longer story or a longer campaign. I think that would really bring you back to the experience over and over again, especially if there's multiple ways that you can approach different enemies, different puzzles, things of that nature. I think it would be really awesome to see some of these puzzles have multiple ways that you can figure out how to get through and get to the next, the next chapter, things of that nature. But I really want to see it be a longer experience, because there were so many times in Limbo that I wanted to continue diving into the lore, the story of it, and learn more about it. Silt, I really want to learn so much about this title, about this world that Spiral Circus is building. Not saying that Limbo did a terrible job of this, because I thought it was a great experience from beginning to end. I just would have loved it to be longer. So hopefully Silt definitely delivers on that. Number 3 for me, guys, this is a long shot, and I talked about this earlier in the show, but the what ifs of Limbo and Silt. What if these titles were in the same universe and Spiral Circus was able to do that in some way or another, was able to get the rights from Playdead, or was allowed to have a shared universe where Silt is somehow in the Limbo universe? I think that would be very much so a wow effect. I think it could be something really special. Now, a lot of people would disagree with that. They just want Silt to stand on its own, but I feel, guys, that this could very easily be in the Limbo universe, and I think that could be something really special, especially depending on what Playdead brings out next. Could it be something that's in that world? It could be something really special. I would love, it's more of like a fan type of want, essentially, guys. For me, I'd love to see Silt be in the Limbo universe, because I loved Limbo so much. I'd love to see these somehow be in the same universe, and they kind of have a big reveal of it maybe at the end of the game. It'd be something that's really cool, but I'm not going to hold my breath for it, but it's something I'd love to see. Coming in, guys, at number 4 for me, I think that one of the things that we talk about a lot here on the YouTube channel is, sure, about the past games, the current games, and then the future of games. And with Silt, I really want to see this title be kind of, stand on its own, but I want to see Spiral Circus set this game up for the future of the franchise, what we want to be a franchise here. See, with Limbo, we had Limbo and then we had Inside. And then, we haven't had a continuation since. With Silt, I would love to see them have like a few of these games in mind. Obviously focus solely on Silt right now, but have a plan that after Silt you get a sequel and then hopefully like a trilogy, and they create this into a long-withstanding franchise. Because I think that these 2D puzzle adventure horror titles they're niche, but they're so awesome, and they're, I just would love to see this continue in one shape, way, or form in the future. So have Silt stand on its own, but I'd love to see this be able to set up the next generation of 2D puzzle, action, and horror games within this universe. That would be absolutely incredible to me. And rounding it out, guys, at number 5 for me, I would also love to see Spiral Circus have a plan for Silt, not only to have a continuation in the future, but also to potentially have some future DLC for Silt. Maybe something along the lines of having, some new puzzles or new areas that you can explore to in the DLC. It would be awesome to have some free DLC with it, but at the end of the day, just having DLC as a whole would be absolutely incredible in my mind. Having more ways that you can connect with Silt as a franchise moving forward and as a game, I think could be huge. The DLC would be massive in my opinion. I'd love to see that, happen at some point or another for this game. Maybe, number of months down the road, they add some DLC, gives you some more areas that you can explore, kind of build that legacy, build the lore, the story of Silt. I think it could be really something special. But those are the 5 things, guys, I want to see out of Silt. What would you like to see out of this title? Let me know in the comment section down below. And for more Silt content and videos, stay here with Zero TV. In ways, Silt looks even more terrifying than a title like Limbo or even Inside, guys. This title could be the defining, 2D puzzle adventure horror title, guys, for this generation of, PC games like this. I really feel that Limbo started this incredible, genre for horror fans, for the 2D, puzzles, but also, having so many horror elements to it. I think that this could very well, being Silt, could really raise the bar on that in a number of ways. We won't know until we get our full hands-on, experience with this title, but I think that there's a really good chance. And I want to talk, guys, about how this terrifying experience could elevate, and hopefully does, what Limbo started and the folks over at Playdead were able to build over there. So with that being said, guys, in an article coming to us from Christian Donlin of Eurogamer, Silt is one of those great Robert McFarlane words. I want to lift it to my ear in a quiet room and close my eyes so I can hear those sands shifting, tiny rocks brushing one against another. There's beauty to it, deep time and nature's endless grinding patience. But there's a horror in that very patience. This world would take a billion gentle years to bury you completely. Silt seems aware of this. The horror and beauty of certain words, the poetry of them. This is an adventure that starts with a poem, in short. There are beasts out there under the waves, and you need to collect their eyes. But the second time I played through, I wondered, poem or incantation? Is there a difference? Just what is being summoned here? You are a lithe diver with the classic brass helmet. Flippers slightly too long, body slightly too slim. I suspect what is under all that brass is not entirely human, and I'm quickly proved right. As you move about the two-dimensional world deep under the ocean, the murk rendered in sooty, throbbing bunal grays and blacks, you can send out a sizzling beam of lightning, threading it through the bubbles to possess any nearby creatures. Little fish might get through gaps. Bigger fish might be able to bite through reeds blocking your path. Sharky things might ram blocks and smash them. So just hearing the way he's explaining it, guys, this title looks pretty terrifying, to say the least. And I love when he says that the diver may not be fully human, may not be human at all. And I think that there's definitely a creative decision there that, obviously the developers decided to kind of go in this direction with this type of main character. It's very interesting, guys, but breaking it down in that way, it definitely sounds like something special. So chaining these possessions together seems to be a lot of fun here, seeing how far you can move from your little diver and then somehow oxbow back to them bearing a little of progress. But like Limbo, a game to which Silt invites very superficial comparisons, this is a puzzle game that never feels like a puzzle game. Underwater, so far from the surface, it feels like life and death. You have, as a Wall Street type might put it, a serious position in the market. And that's an interesting concept, guys, because what I love about what he's saying here is that Silt doesn't feel like a puzzle game. There's puzzles to it, but it doesn't feel like that. Limbo felt like there were many moments where you had to figure things out. Lots of puzzles. Games like Resident Evil where you got to figure out a puzzle here or there. This, what I love is that it's almost like integrated into the experience. So it doesn't really feel like, a puzzle. You're just having to possess creatures. You're having to just kind of figure out where you're going at the end of the day, but feels more of a linear experience. I love that. Now, brilliantly, these horrors are not delivered with any kind of clear-eyed realism. How could they be? They have the frantic pen strikes and ink blots of Cyril or even Scarf's work. Something comedic in the horror, but just the slightest splinter of comedy. A smiler with a knife. Deep down, once the demo's beast had been defeated, I found something truly wondrous waiting in a cavern beneath it. I wish I could tell you about it, but you'll be glad, I think, that I did not. Silt is going to be a horrible delight. Wait for it, because it seems to be waiting for you. And guys, I think Christian really nailed it on the head on what what I'm hoping to see and expect in this title. Obviously, guys, the full game isn't out yet. It's going to be coming here sooner rather than later, but I think that there's a lot to be excited about here with this title. This terrifying experience that could really raise the bar to what started with Playdead's, Limbo and Inside. This is one, guys, that could be something very special in the future, hopefully creating a brand new franchise, maybe one that intertwines into the Limbo universe. You never know, but there's a lot to this, guys, that we can break down. I think a lot of us are going to translate this thing differently. The way that you perceive it is going to be different than the way I perceive it as to what happens and what transpires. But with that being said, guys, let me know in the comment section down below, what do you guys think about Silt? What are you most excited about? Let me know in the comment section down below. And for more Silt content and videos, stay here with Zero TV. And with that being said, everyone, I hope you guys did enjoy this episode of Horror Theory. Guys, thanks so much for watching this episode of the show. If you guys enjoyed it, definitely think about joining our membership and joining the channel, guys, and joining Horror Theory. All the perks and everything like that, guys, are really exciting. I appreciate all of you who are joining the channel, guys, and joining our horror community, Horror Theory as a whole, guys. I'm so excited for it. I can't wait to have more conversations with all of you on the private Discord, talking about, monthly Q&A live streams, to all kinds of different things that we have planned here on the YouTube channel, all in the horror universe, guys. Thanks again for watching this episode of the show. If you guys enjoyed it, leave a thumbs up. That really helps out the YouTube channel, guys, in a massive way. If you subscribe to the channel, you'll get notified every single time a new video comes out on the YouTube channel. Stay positive, guys. Just keep grinding. And as always, I'll talk to you guys all in the next one. Peace.